Hello and welcome to UE4 Tips for You. So in this new tutorial series we will implement a little nightmare game mechanics, and in this first tutorial we will set up our character and the camera movement logic. As you guys can see in this video, my character walk around and my camera smoothly follows the character, same as in the Little Nightmare game. So let's get started, guys. Hello and welcome. So here is my default third-person character project is set up. My character is simple walking, running and jumping like so, and also I have already imported this stylized character pack from marketplace, and we will use these assets throughout this tutorial series. And here is my working map. I have already placed these 3 cubes and assigned different materials to each of the cube. So now let's start working on our character class, and I'm gonna right click and create a new blueprint class. Parent class will be our character, and I'm gonna call this character class underscore Little Nightmare. So here is my default character class. I'm gonna select mesh and assign the skeleton mesh over here. So now let's use this skeleton mesh of stylized character, set its position accordingly and assign the animation blueprint. Mannequin animation, and here is the animation blueprint. And here you can see my character and animation blueprint is set up. Now let's create a game mode for our character. Game mode underscore Little Nightmare, and I'm gonna assign the character class over here in the default font class. Now my game mode is set up, and in the world setting of map, assign the game mode that we just created. So now let's add camera for our character. I'm gonna select and add spring arm, and under the spring arm add camera component. So here is my character with proper camera is set up. Now let's add the movement logic. I'm gonna right click and search for move right axis events, and add a node, add movement input over here. Let's connect these two, and axis value will be our scale value, and the world direction will be 1 in the y-axis, because the A and D key we will use these two keys for our move right and left. Now let's check this. Here you can see my character moves right and left. Let's set the camera position like so. Here you can see my character moves left and right. Now select our class defaults and search for yaw and set the use controller rotation yaw to false. And now select the spring arm and set the use pawn control rotation to true. Do collision test, set it to false, and select character movement component. Then our rotation settings, set orient rotation to movement true. Now let's check the result. Here you can see my character moves left and right and its rotation is also working fine. Now let's search for move forward to move our character forward and backward. Add movement input, and for the move forward we will use X axis in our world direction and Y and Z will be 0. So here you guys can see my character can move properly left and right, forward and backward. Now let's fix the speed of character. I'm gonna set the speed to max box speed to 200. Now my character is in walking state. And now let's add the camera movement logic so that our camera can properly follow the character like in the Little Nightmare. So for this we will use a separate camera that will follow the character instead of using this camera that we set up in our character class. So now I'm gonna create a new blueprint class based on actor and call this camera active camera, and in this character class I'm gonna just add a new camera and this will be fine. Now let's open our character class and add the begin play. We're gonna get all actors of class and the actor class will be our active camera that we just created, and we will get a first copy of this and promote it to variable. Call this active camera. So here is our camera class references set up. Now we will blend from this camera to the active camera class that we just created. So for doing this I'm gonna right click and search for set view target So uncheck the context sensitive, and here you can see set view target with blend node. Target will be our get layer controller, and new target will be our active camera. So now let's check the result. For checking the result, I'm gonna drag my active camera and add it into the world like so. Now let's play. Here you can see if I move my camera like so, here you can see now I have the view from my active camera that we just set up. Now let's set the camera location when my character moves in the world. So for setting the camera location, we will use event tick for this. So first at begin play, set the default location of our active camera, set world location, set actor location, and the target location will be our this camera. So we will use this camera as a reference for our camera position. Instead of using this camera, we will just use this as a reference for our location for active camera. So we will get world location of camera and set it over here. Now if I 0 the location of my camera, and when I play my camera, default location is properly set up. Now at the event tick, we will set the camera location, active camera location, set actor location, and for the location we will use enter v-enter2. The current location will be get world location of get actor location of our active camera, and target location will be our this camera in our character class. The delta time will be our get world delta seconds, and for the interrupt speed I'm gonna promote it to a variable interrupt speed and set the default value to 1.5 like so. Now if I play, you guys can see my camera smoothly follows my character like in the Little Nightmare. Now let's fix the camera a little bit. I'm gonna select spring arm and set the target arm length to 700 like so, and set the Z value to 90. And now Now let's check the result. I think my camera Z location is little bit downward, so I'm gonna select my spring arm and set the location in world space in Z axis to 130, like so. So here you guys can see my camera smoothly follows my character. You can set the spring arm location and target arm length according to your need, and in my case I think it's perfectly fine. Now let's add some camera lag to our spring arm so that camera smoothly follows our character. So for adding camera lag, I'm gonna select my spring arm and enable camera lag over here, and also I'm gonna enable camera rotation lag, like so. And for the rotation lag speed, I'm gonna set it to 0.5, camera lag max distance to 500. And now let's check the result. If I debug the camera lag, you guys can see the yellow sphere will follow the green sphere. You guys can play around with these values and set according to your own need. Now let's add the more logic for our camera. So when I move press my right arrow key, like so, then I will grab my spring arm and set the target offset, in the y-axis to 180, and when I release the key, I'm gonna set target offset to 0. Now you guys can see when I move right and when I press right arrow key, my camera moves forward a little bit in y-axis. So instead of 180, let's add 200, and for the interrupt speed, we're gonna set interrupt speed to 3, and when I release the key, set interrupt speed to 1.5. Here you guys can see my camera moves pretty fast. I think 2.5 speed will be fine. Now let's grab our left arrow key and set the same functionality over here. and instead of 200 I'm going to set to minus 200 and the speed will be fine. Now let's check the result again. Here you can see when I move left side and press the left arrow, my camera offset set accordingly. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, and also you can support me on Patreon. And in the next tutorial we will implement proper character movement logic with proper start and stop transitions and set the character locomotion perfectly fine. So thank you very much guys.